Hey, it's Tim here. In this video, I want to cover all the Tableau product names and all the individual sort of capabilities inside of Tableau. What I did is I posted this image on LinkedIn and I asked the community, hey, is anything missing from this list? And this comes off the back of two things. First of all, it's conference next week. And I think something that's come up a lot in the last few months is just the amount of different names in the Tableau ecosystem. And then I've also seen this confusion between several things: Tableau licensing, Tableau Plus, and Tableau Pulse. And it just got me on this sort of train of thought around actually just explaining all the Tableau terminology. And so I made a list and I came up with this first tranche of items. And then I asked on LinkedIn, I asked a few friends on WhatsApp, and we ended up coming up with this sort of bottom list of items. So what I want to do in this video is to go through all of these names. And the way that I did this is I actually just spent like a couple of hours just going through this list and trying to come up with a structure that would make sense. And when I did that, what I ended up with was this. So basically breaking out what I think are the distinct platforms. So these are sort of top level containers. Think of them as containers. Within those platforms are products. And then within those products are capabilities. And then you have licensing and the community. Now, community, these are terms that I know you will have heard of: Tableau Ambassador, Tableau Visionary, Tableau Zen Master, which was formerly the previous name for Visionary. They don't need explaining, but I put them on here because you will have heard of them. And therefore, it's just important to signal that they are not products. They are actually separate things. That should be obvious, but I've put them there anyway. So the real focus is on the licensing, the capabilities, the products, and the platforms. Now, I recorded a separate video where I actually showed that whole entire process of doing this. It's just over an hour long, so you can go ahead and watch that if you're a member of this channel. But that ended up with this diagram, which is what I'm going to go through in this video. The easiest way to do this is just to start from the very, very top and focus on licensing. And what I'll do is I'll make this diagram available as a link. And what I'll probably do is I'll put the editable file for Excalidraw in GitHub, and I'll make it available for people to be able to sort of borrow, enhance, or use, whatever. I think it's a good way of sort of visualizing it, and it needs a lot of work. This is not perfect. So let's start with Tableau licensing. When we talk about licensing, what we're really talking about is when you go onto the pricing page here on the Tableau homepage, these items here, and these have changed again recently. So just a few days ago, Tableau here was called Standard, Enterprise was Enterprise, and then you had Tableau Plus. So there are three license levels: Tableau Enterprise and Tableau Plus. When you click on these, you get a little bit of a comparison of what's in them and the different prices, and you can kind of create your own mix. There's a bit of a comparison tool as well if you're not sure what's in what as well, so you can go ahead and sort of play around with these toggles. And Tableau Plus really gives you the big sort of set of capabilities, but with each of these there are sort of core capabilities. So if I go back to the naming, Tableau is a license level, Enterprise is a license level, and Tableau Plus is a license level. These are license levels that control the whole entire platform. Okay, within each of those you have what are known as roles. So roles are essentially, let me get my annotator out, these ones. So you have Tableau Creator, Tableau Explorer, and Tableau Viewer. Now, in my Tableau AI video that I did a while back, I talked a little bit about the fact that there's actually one missing here, which is like a Tableau Curator, essentially a slightly different role to the creator. Someone made a comment on that video that I think really rung home. I'll put it on screen, but in essence, these three roles control how much access to the platform you have. So Creator gets access to Tableau Desktop, Tableau Prep, Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server, and a bunch of other capabilities that generally allows them to build stuff. Explorer gets a limited set of the same capabilities. They can only do some of those things in web authoring, and primarily they're there to kind of act as someone who can not only view content but manage some of the content as well. Then you have Tableau Viewer, someone who just consumes content on the Tableau platform. And these are the different roles that you get. You can actually see them. If I come out of this annotation view, go in here, you'll see that you get a list of sort of the capabilities that you get. So you'll see the products, you'll see everything that's sort of part of their ecosystem. In fact, if I go to, let's say, the overview here, and I scroll down, let's get rid of this little pop-up. I think they've changed this page as well, but here you go. You get this list. Tableau Creator gets Desktop, Prep, Pulse, Cloud, and Server. Cloud or Server. Cloud is the cloud version, Server is the on-premise version. The on-premise version, your IT department manages that, deploys that, upgrades it. Cloud is done by Tableau/Salesforce. Okay. Enterprise gets a subset of that, so they get Tableau Pulse, which also you get Creator, you get Cloud, you get Server, and some authoring capabilities, but it's very limited. You need to have Web Edit, and it's based on data sources that already exist. Viewer is very much sort of limited set, only for consumption, no real sort of creation capabilities. You get Pulse as well, and you can go and do a bunch of stuff there as well. So those are the license roles. Now, within that, there are what we call capabilities. Now, the advanced management and data management items, so these two here, they actually define groupings of capabilities. So advanced management is essentially around controlling your Tableau Cloud and Tableau Server instances, getting more data, seeing more information about them, and generally being able to have oversight as to how they work. In the case of Tableau Cloud, advanced management also gives you increased storage, increased space. I'll come to the website that shows you all of this in a second. But with data management, you get essentially a lot more data lineage capabilities natively built into the platform. That said, some of those capabilities are available through the metadata API, but you have to do a lot of work to create those perspectives yourselves. Data management gives you that stuff out of the box and enables a bunch of other capabilities around lineage. But additionally, with data management, you also get something called Tableau Prep Conductor. Tableau Prep Conductor is a scheduling capability inside of Tableau itself. So if I go back to the Tableau website, let's see if we can find data management somewhere. Let's see if it can tell us what it is. Let's do this. Tableau data management. See if we can find like a product page for this. Here we go. It's so funny. In the URLs, they're called add-ons, and yet Tableau hate this name. So that's just what they are. So Tableau data management, basically you get high quality data lineage, data catalog, you get Tableau Prep Conductor, and you get some governance elements around virtual connections. Now, virtual connections is actually quite a powerful feature that is only available through data management. Okay. And then if I go and search for Tableau Advanced Management, there you go. Let's go see that. Again, this is part of the product suite, so it's in the product sort of hierarchy. You get different sets for Tableau Cloud and Tableau Server. So for Cloud, you get admin insights, which is data about your environment. You get the ability to manage content at scale with the Tableau content migration tool. Oh man, I missed that from my list. Enhanced security, a little bit sort of tighter control. You get access to your own, I think, encryption key, so customer manager encryption key, so you can change an encryption key and just immediately solve any sort of threats that are on your platform. And then obviously some information about your whole cloud site. And then for Server, it's slightly different because you manage your own instances on Server. You get more detail around resource monitoring. Again, you get the cloud content migration tool, enhanced security, and then you get a bit more control around things like sites and all the external processes running on the platform. So that is advanced management and data management, two add-ons. I'll leave the tabs open, so then what I can do is I can create like a list of these as well. So we've covered those two off. Now, Data Connect and Resource Blocks. Now, these are fairly new to me. So I know what a resource block is, but let me see if we can. Here we go. So Data Connect is known as an add-on. So enable seamless access to on-premise and private cloud data from Tableau Cloud. So this sounds like a more complicated version of Tableau Bridge, I believe. I don't think it is Tableau Bridge, to be brutally honest with you. Now, this feels very new to me. I think it might be new as of 25.1, so I need to double check that. Now, resource blocks are a capability that allow you to boost your ability to run specific workflows. So I think here you can essentially use this to run concurrent prep flows. Let's go to the Learn More link. It's a very detailed page. Resource blocks are units of compute capacity in Tableau Cloud. The resource blocks run Tableau Prep Conductor flows. Each resource block can run one flow at a time. So the number of flows you can run concurrently is equal to the number of resource blocks you have. So there you go. So resource blocks are essentially consumable and resource block per month. So you get one of these per month, billed annually. So if you wanted one for a whole year, it would be roughly $3,000. Only available in Tableau Cloud Enterprise and Tableau Plus editions. So you have to have the big stuff. One resource block runs one concurrent prep flow. So if you needed to at any time have 5 concurrent prep flows, you would need to have this times 5 times 12, basically. Okay, so that's what a resource block is. Okay, Tableau e-learning and Tableau Blueprint. Now, Tableau e-learning, let's see if we can find this. Tableau e-learning. Tableau e-learning is a web-based training offering. I don't know when this will get replaced by Salesforce Trailhead or whatever. It would make sense for that to happen, but this is a saleable product. It's essentially an online training platform with online content. You can go and watch the content about different aspects of Tableau. It's all been built and curated, and it's just basically sitting there waiting to consume. So this is a nice high margin product because for everyone they sell, they're not having to do a ton of work. So they try and bundle this in with licenses. It's a really good way to get this to work, and it's a subscription, so per user per month, billed annually, and you basically get a bunch of seats. So you can see as I sort of dial up the number of users, I can actually get different sort of training programs for different sort of profiles, and then you get a total price. So e-learning is basically an online learning platform. You can think of it as Tableau's own version of DataCamp, essentially. That's a pretty good way of actually thinking about it. I'll leave that over there because I want to leave all these pages open so we can go back and view them at some point later on. Keep going back to the bottom now. Tableau Blueprint. Let's see if this still exists. Tableau Blueprint. Now, Tableau Blueprint used to be called Tableau Drive. It is essentially a success plan or way to develop Tableau. It's basically a strategy of deploying Tableau in a reliable way. So you basically walk through the guide and it walks you through things you need to be able to do. And as you click on each of these steps, you have some actions. You essentially start with an assessment. Once you've done the assessment, you get like a to-do list. And then once you've done that to-do list, you start doing sort of activities in each of these three areas: agility, proficiency, and community. Then it gets you to where you need to go. So Tableau Blueprint, really good way of making sure you're deploying Tableau in a reliable and good way. It is actually just a document, so you can sort of just, where is this? Where has it gone? So learn more. So start now. There's the map. Yeah, so you've got this, read the blueprint, click on that, and then it's just basically all the steps. It's just basically documentation in the help guide. So you process that, you do an assessment, and then once you've got the things you need to do, you can actually do the assessment online yourself. So there's a little bit of a playbook on demand webinar, and I think you basically work through this. It's like a workbook, and it's got a questionnaire and everything. So it's a pretty good way of actually navigating the whole thing. Cool. So I don't want to spend too much time on each one. That is all the licensing elements. Let me double check something. Let's go to pricing. And so this is the pricing page. You get all the different products. You can compare all the different enterprise versions. It's worth sort of just coming and looking at these. Obviously, we'll touch on some of these soon. There's lots of details and specifics about what you can and can't do. And then you've got the add-ons, which we've just touched on, as well as some frequently asked questions here along the bottom. It's also success plans, which are specifically around like support. So essentially you are buying Salesforce support, I guess, tokens, and there's standard, premier, and signature, which gives you different levels of support depending on your need. So that's basically how that works. Okay, so I think we can put licensing to bed. The next bit is Tableau Core. Now this one I think is a bit easier to cover because hopefully you should all be very familiar with it. So I won't bother going through and showing you product pages. I might sort of touch on it a little bit. The first one is Tableau Desktop. I'll highlight the one I'm talking about. So the first one is Tableau Desktop. This is the thing that probably most people talk about when they talk about Tableau. My opinion has been that for a long time, people focus on the smallest part of the platform. The entire Tableau platform, as you can see, is far broader than just desktop. But desktop is the thing that you use to build visualizations. It's the thing that we all talk about. It's the thing that everyone makes tutorials on, but it's not the only part of the platform. Okay, it's essentially the visualization piece if you're watching this as someone who's completely new to the platform. Now, Tableau Desktop Public Edition is exactly the same as Tableau Desktop, except for it is specifically linked to Tableau Public. What that means is it doesn't have the ability to connect to databases, and it allows you to save your work to Tableau Public and to your desktop. So basically you can think of this as the free version of Tableau with a few limitations, that you can't connect to databases, but you can connect to Google Sheets files, you can connect to Excel files, and you can save your work and view it on your machine completely for free. It's for Windows and Mac. It's a great solution. It's got the exact same capability as Tableau Desktop. The only restrictions are you cannot connect to databases. So that's obviously where they get you for professional pricing, the ability to connect to databases. So if you want to use Tableau for free, Tableau Desktop Public Edition is basically the version to get. The next thing to touch on is Tableau Business Science. Now, Tableau Business Science is a capability that essentially revolves around AI, and let's call this sort of predictive analytics and data science within the Tableau space. It's strictly not something that I think Tableau uses a lot as a term, but it's also strictly something that still exists. So if we go over here and we just search Tableau Business Science, you do get the pages still live, and you have a good description of what it is. And basically, it's a group of different capabilities spread throughout the product. The most notable one is Einstein being a Salesforce capability. We'll come on to that a little later. But it's an important part of, I guess, the desktop capability, because there's not really anywhere else you can access its features. And I'm not going to go too much into this, because my suspicion is this will probably disappear off the website at some point once everything has a better name, because AI came along after Business Science was sort of launched, and AI has become the sort of big banner for all of these things. So I think Business Science will disappear and it will just become Tableau AI. We'll come on to that later. Tableau Authoring. You might be wondering, well, what is this? It is exactly the same thing as Tableau Desktop. So Tableau Desktop and Tableau Authoring are basically the same thing. Why is there something called Tableau Authoring? Why is it not just called Tableau Desktop? Because Tableau Web Authoring refers to the exact same thing, but on the web. And the reason there's a distinction is because, broadly speaking, you will hear Salesforce talk about Tableau Authoring as a capability, and this doesn't distinguish between the difference between desktop and web authoring. So when you hear Tableau Authoring, think desktop and web authoring. If you hear Tableau Web Authoring, think web only. And there's some features that only work in the web. For example, spell check only works in the web. Some of the newer interface elements only work on the web. Some of the AI stuff only used to work on the web. Now it starts to work in desktop in some areas as well. So that's basically why the distinction exists. They need some way of telling you what is desktop and web and what is just web. Okay. So that's the Tableau desktop space. Tableau Prep Builder. This is the data cleansing tool. In case you're new to Tableau and you don't know what, this is the one product when I tell people it exists who are not familiar with Tableau, it absolutely blows their mind when I show them how it works. It's essentially a data prep tool, allows you to clean your data. It uses the sort of London Tube app as inspiration, allowing you to go from step to step and essentially executing your data preparation steps. And you can see an example of how it works here. So it's a very intuitive tool. This is not the video where I show you the whole thing. It's just me calling out what it can do. So clean your data. It can connect to most databases that you'd want to connect to. It's an entirely web and desktop native tool. There's no difference between the two. So this is something you can do on both web and desktop, which is why there is no distinction between Tableau Prep in the browser and Tableau Prep on the desktop. That's probably the only distinction you'll ever hear, but all of that capability is available in both web and desktop. So if we go back to our diagram, another thing you'll sometimes hear is something called Tableau Prep Conductor. Now, Tableau Prep Conductor is the capability that allows you to schedule your prep flows. We've already touched on this because if you recall, you need resource blocks in order to be able to run multiple Tableau Prep Conductor instances. Starting to connect a few of the dots, okay? Tableau Mobile is the mobile app. It's sort of the home of Tableau Cloud, Tableau Server, and also Tableau Pulse. It is just a web mobile client. It can look at dashboards, it can do a bunch of things, but it's purely a consumption capability. There's not really any authoring or design setups. And then Tableau Reader, I couldn't believe this still exists. This is equivalent of basically, it's like being able to open a workbook without being able to edit it. Think of it as Adobe PDF Reader for Tableau. You basically download it and it allows you to open a workbook, interact with it, but it's got no design capabilities, no building capabilities whatsoever. So you can essentially send someone a workbook and then use this to open it. I don't really see why you would use this today because, well, I guess if you don't want someone to be editing it, you tell them to download Tableau Reader, but you might use Tableau Public Desktop Edition. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't tested whether Tableau Reader can open something that's been built in Tableau Public Desktop Edition. If it can't, then this makes sense because then someone who's used Tableau Desktop, the paid product, can send you something to look at inside a Tableau Reader. And again, it's entirely free. There's no license to this. You just download it and you can open up a Tableau workbook. Okay. So that's Tableau Reader. We've done that top element. Next, we have Tableau Server. Everyone knows Tableau Server, the first sort of real platform in the Tableau ecosystem. It's the home of so many other things. So we have Tableau APIs, we have Tableau Prep Conductor, which talked about, and Tableau Web Authoring, which we've talked about. Web Authoring being the web version of desktop inside of the platform. So Server and Cloud are basically the same thing. They are fundamentally the platform upon which all Tableau products connect to and work and function. So a lot of what I'm talking about will go through Tableau Server or go through Tableau Cloud. Where they're different is Tableau Server is managed by your IT team, and Tableau Cloud is managed by Tableau, or Salesforce in this case. Okay. Now, what that means fundamentally is that Tableau Cloud is upgraded, maintained, all the service issues are managed by Salesforce themselves. If your Tableau server goes down, you're calling your own IT, and someone in your IT department literally has to go and access the server and make sure everything's running well. Now, over the years, over the last year or so, there's been a divergence in features. And so a lot of the capabilities that Salesforce and Tableau have announced have only been cloud specific. So you have a long list of capabilities that you will have definitely heard of, but some of them are only specific to Tableau Cloud. So Tableau Pulse, again, you need Tableau Cloud for this to work. There's also Tableau Pulse Premium, which is available if you have a Tableau Plus license. So the Tableau Plus license gives you access to the AI capabilities. Specifically, Tableau Pulse Premium gets some premium options of Tableau Pulse. So there's some basic things that are available to everyone. Then there's some enhanced capabilities in Tableau Pulse Premium. Tableau Bridge is this client that allows you to basically sync files between Tableau's cloud and your own internal infrastructure. Basically, if you have a server in the cloud, it naturally doesn't have access to your databases and files inside of your organization because it would have to break through your firewall, and that wouldn't be a good day for your IT team. So what Tableau Bridge is, that it's a little client that sits on your machine, on a virtual machine or on your laptop, and it just stays on. Even when you log out, you can enable it to be running in the background. And when a data source needs updating, Tableau Cloud can communicate with it and say, hey, Tableau Bridge, can you go inside of the company's network and get me the data that I'm requesting? It's from the SQL Server, it's this Excel file. And then Tableau Bridge will go and do the work of updating the data source and then send that response back to Tableau Cloud. So think of it as a client that's controlled by Tableau Cloud to update data sources that it can't get access to because it sits in the cloud. Okay. So that's essentially all it is. Tableau AI, we're looking at this. This is a capability name. So Tableau AI encompasses all the AI capabilities. They kind of sit under this banner. It's called Tableau AI. You really only see it in a setting. If I go and Google this, let's see what comes back. Tableau AI. You get AI in Tableau, and then you get lots of different things. Tableau Agent, Tableau Pulse, Einstein Trust Layer. And so this is essentially it. It's this sort of big container for all the AI capabilities, some of which we've already talked about. Tableau Agent, this is a specific capability inside of the desktop and prep interface. In prep, it allows you to do calculations. In desktop, it does calculations and charts. It's something I've made videos about already, so go ahead and check some of those out. Tableau Cloud Manager is a new capability as of the previous release, 24.3. It allows you to manage your Tableau Cloud instance, essentially. As of the Tableau Cloud Manager launch, it was not possible for you to have multiple sites in Tableau Cloud as part of your deployment. With Tableau Cloud Manager, all the license levels, by license levels, I'm talking about Tableau Enterprise and Tableau Plus, they each got an allocation of Tableau Cloud Manager sites. So the smallest, I think, is 3. And then I think the biggest Tableau Plus is about 50. So there's a real range there for you to work with. Enterprise, I think, is about 20 or something like that. So that's what Tableau Cloud Manager is. Tableau Web Authoring, we've touched on this already. It's the web version of Tableau Desktop inside of Tableau Cloud, also inside of Server. Tableau APIs also in Server. These are just a whole list of APIs. So because I don't have time to go through about what would be 11 APIs, I deliberately, oh God, here's where I'm saying, oh, we'll just go through this. And then it's not actually here. Oh no. Have they changed they've definitely changed this page. I used to be able to find it very easily. and now I can't. Here we go. Tableau Developer Tools webpage has all the APIs in one place. So you've got embedding JavaScript API for embedding Tableau content inside of an application, REST API, programmatic access for your content and sites, dashboard extensions, something that sits within the dashboard, manages all the ways to extend your dashboard beyond its standard capability. Not the same as Viz extensions, which is a chart capability, not an API. Well, strictly it is an API, but it lives in Exchange rather than being here on this page. We'll come back to that. Metadata API has information around the metadata in your platform. Hyper APIs basically allows you to create hyperfiles. The Connector SDK allows you to build data connections. Analytics extensions, this is a tough one. Analytics extension API allows you to build essentially extensions that run on your data source. It's not a visual extension. It's actually an extension that runs on your data source. So you can run Python functions on your calculations. You can run MATLAB on your calculations inside of Tableau. Webhooks allow you to hook in specific capabilities around actions that happen. So you can say, look, when this data source is updated, go and do this thing and throw a notification out to, I don't know, Slack. R integration, very obvious, use R in Tableau. TabPy, use Python in Tableau. Mobile app bootstrap, this allows you to basically build mobile apps very quickly. And then the document API allows you to generate workbooks on the fly. So those are all the APIs. Whistle stop tour. Prep Conductor we've touched on, Cloud Manager we've touched on. I put that in twice, so we'll delete that. Okay. Now Tableau Public, you're probably thinking, well, we've covered Tableau Public. No, we've covered Tableau Public Desktop Edition. That is more akin to Tableau Desktop than it is Tableau Public. Tableau Public is a web page, so let's go ahead and look at that. So this is Tableau Public. Come find beautiful visualizations, get inspired, build your own visualization. It's very much a gallery rather than a product. You can also build inside of Tableau Public, so you can go in here and do web authoring. So I should really have put Tableau Public web authoring. Let me add this in, web authoring. Okay, I'll correct the spelling later. Web authoring for Tableau Public, or Tableau Public itself. Tableau Public web authoring is akin to Tableau Desktop Public Edition, but for the web, basically. Okay, the next one is Tableau Exchange. So this is an ecosystem of three things: connectors, dashboard extensions, accelerators, and Viz extensions. They have not added Viz extensions to the Google homepage yet, but here you can see the different things. So accelerators are templates, dashboard extensions extend the capability of your dashboard. Viz extensions allow you to build custom charts, and connectors allow you to connect to different data sources. You've got different tabs for each one of those, so I highly encourage you go and check those out. But that is the Exchange. It's like a marketplace essentially for these. Some of these are paid, some of them are free. There's no money that changes hands here on the Tableau Exchange itself. What happens is some of these require you to then go and purchase them with the developer directly, and then you're able to do whatever you need to do. Yeah, this list is getting very long on the left. So we've talked about connectors, Viz extensions, there's a couple of others there, but basically that is the core platform in a nutshell. We're at 30 minutes. We need to keep going. Okay. Then comes Tableau Next. Actually, I'll cover this one. Slack, its own communication platform. Done. I think everyone knows what Slack is. Teams, Microsoft Teams should also be here, but strictly speaking, it's not a Salesforce product. So this is just Salesforce / Tableau adjacent stuff, not the technology ecosystems that we typically use. Now, Tableau Next is a hard one to do, and I'll put my hands up here. I copped out. I did not create a separate diagram for Salesforce, even though strictly speaking a lot of the stuff I'm about to tell you exists in the Salesforce ecosystem exclusively. Tableau Next kind of sits in the middle. It's not really in the Salesforce ecosystem, but it kind of is. So for the purpose of this and you, the audience, I'm just going to explain it like it's part of Tableau Next. Salesforce is part of Tableau Next. But strictly speaking, Salesforce, the platform, is a square around all of this. If I zoom out, like this square, if I draw a square, like this square would be the Salesforce ecosystem, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just make it easier. So Tableau Next, very new product, is based on a couple of key concepts. The first is that Data Cloud is a core component of the Tableau Next ecosystem. Now, Data Cloud is funny, because, and this is a little bit hard to explain, Data Cloud is exclusive to Salesforce itself. if you go look at the Salesforce website, let's go ahead and do that. And let's look at some of the other stuff. Here we go. If I look at the Salesforce website, you'll see that Data Cloud is a product here. If I click on that, it tells me all about Data Cloud and what it can do. There is a specific variant of it for Tableau Next. Okay, so there's Data Cloud for Tableau Next is an actual thing. So you have Data Cloud, and if I do this and I say Data Cloud for Tableau Next, and for Data Cloud to have access to your published data sources, there is another capability, which is a connector. So we'll call this a Tableau Semantics connector. Again, fairly new, not really been talked about much. And this sits over inside of Tableau Desktop. So if I zoom out here a little bit, give us some more space, really your Tableau Semantics connector allows you to connect to Tableau Semantics, and you'll also be able to have your published data sources be consumed into Tableau Data Cloud. So we'll just take an arrow from server and do this. So this is my working assumption. I've not been to conference yet. This might be wrong as soon as we go to conference. To get something into Tableau Next from your ecosystem, let's say you got a published data source, you'd put your published data source into Data Cloud. From Data Cloud, you'd then push it up into Semantics, you'd build your semantic model. Once you've got your semantic model, you can then go and visualize it with Data Pro. You can have AI look for insights in Inspector, or you can have Concierge sort of drum up some types of analysis on your behalf, essentially. And then you've also got this concept of agents, which is generally quite a prolific concept inside of the Salesforce Agentforce setup. We'll come to that in a second. And then you have this thing which is called metrics, which looks awfully like Tableau Pulse, but is not Tableau Pulse, but it's also the name of a previous capability that was very much like Tableau Pulse before it got canned. So metrics used to be a feature in Tableau. It got canned. Tableau Pulse came around. Now Tableau Pulse is the main thing that kind of replaced metrics, but it appears this terminology called metrics is appearing again inside of Tableau Next, doing something completely different. So I'm not 100% on that. We'll see how that goes. But that's Tableau Next. So Tableau Semantics, build your semantic models. Data Cloud, where your data lives. Think of it as like a lake storage system, Data Cloud. It can connect to lots of different things, and it's just a layer, and within it you can basically hook different data sources into it from different places. I've explained the different capabilities in Tableau Next. So Data Pro is a visualization tool. I've actually made a whole video about this, a short and a long one. Go watch whichever one you want. And that's essentially Tableau Next. Now, the thing I want to touch on is all the other stuff that's part of Salesforce that you'll hear, but you don't often maybe use. So we have Einstein, which is the general brand for, I'm going to say AI, but that doesn't mean much. It used to be the general term for what I would call predictive analytics, data science inside of the Salesforce ecosystem, but it's been broadened out to include AI. Now, within that is something called the Einstein Trust Layer. So the Einstein Trust Layer, this is where I zoom out and I went and got lots of Salesforce platform diagrams because they're actually quite handy. The Einstein Trust Layer is how Tableau AI's capabilities communicate with the world and keeps your data safe. So this diagram pretty much sums it up. So you got your Salesforce app, whether it's Tableau or anything else, you have a layer and let's say a prompt area which takes your query or takes your ask, and it basically does a little bit of prompt engineering for you in the background. There are then some libraries specifically that they use to then process your query, and then they can contextualize a little bit with Data Cloud through RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Then once they've done all of that, they mask your data so your data never really leaves your domain. There's a rate limiting capability in here, and then there's a little bit of a prompt that can then route to Salesforce hosted LLM or to specific and trusted ones. So you've got Anthropic, Salesforce, and I think there's another one there. I don't know what that is. And then there's also bring your own model and external models over here on the right hand side, essentially. I think this is only if you have Salesforce though, do you get the bring your own model kind of capability. Whenever those things are done, they send a response back. Salesforce will try and fix things. It will bring back the masking in. So it will start applying all the, let's say, correct names back to your data. So you can You can have what you need. And then there's a little bit of cleansing in terms of the way the feedback works. Then there's an audit log that's kind of made, and then you get your generation. Then you see what you need to see. So this is the sort of loop that keeps your data safe and stops OpenAI and the likes from being able to access your stuff. So that's what that is. We are nearly there. We're nearly there. I've done a bunch of other diagrams here. Where am I? Here we go. Customer clouds. These are things like if I go here, go back, you have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud. These are all sort of different clouds within the Salesforce ecosystem. They'll all generate data sources and, let's say, outputs as native capabilities. The idea is that in Tableau Next, you can access those immediately. Salesforce Flow, a tool that feels very much like is inspired by Tableau Prep, but is actually designed around actions. So you can essentially create triggers, a bit like Zapier, but for Salesforce. You can basically set up these flows where when an activity happens, you can trigger these other sort of capabilities. Rather than waffling, let's Salesforce Flow. Here we go. Visualize flow differences. Here we go. Salesforce Flow. Help guide. Automate tasks with flows. Flows and flow builder. This is a trailhead. Let's see if we can see something about it in here. Are you going to show it to us? No, that video does not show us the product at all. What on earth? Designing flows. Let's maybe go deeper into the manual. How is that not something? Oh my God. How is that not something you'd see a diagram for? So this is kind of this is not even what I was expecting. These are just concept videos. They're not really that good. How about this is bad. I just searched for an image. Should have done that right from the beginning. This is what it looks like. So bit like Alteryx, bit like Tableau Prep, but you can essentially build your flows, and you can let's see. Here we go. So we've maybe seen some of this stuff in Tableau Next, but this is the basic concept. So you've got your toolbox on the left, a canvas in the middle, just like any other flow builder, and then you've got your button bar across the top, and then you've got all the other sort of building blocks. And you basically bring things in, you click on a section, you configure what you need to do, and then as you're building your flow, you have different sort of outcomes. And then the flow has to have an end. Your data can kind of progress through these flows, but what you're really trying to do is build in an action layer in terms of getting your data to do some work for you. Salesforce CRM, I don't need to explain this. This is just Salesforce itself. Tableau CRM is the formerly known as Einstein Analytics, which got renamed to Tableau CRM. That's quite good to know. Hyperforce, this is a hard one to explain, but I believe I do have a diagram on this. It is the Salesforce cloud infrastructure, essentially. Here's a diagram. So you have Hyperforce grid. So the way to think of it is it's a capability that allows the cloud platform to run more smoothly. It probably has capabilities around deployment as well, but Tableau Cloud recently moved to Hyperforce. And so just think of it as a cloud instance that's managed and run by Salesforce, and it's got a specific design that then allows it to be quite resilient and work with the rest of Salesforce very easily. That's the best way to think about it. It will borrow heavily from AWS because that's what underpins Salesforce. It's probably a rebrand of some of the capabilities that Salesforce gives you around sort of networking, regional sort of constraints around resources and observability, and a few other sort of contexts. I'm struggling for words because this is just a completely different topic area to what I'm typically used to talking about. I need to redo my AWS certification. Okay, let's go back. What have we got left? Hyperforce, we've talked about. Agentforce, this is the agentic sort of world of Salesforce. To be honest with you, I've not used it, so I'm not going to pretend to tell you what all the different agents can or should do. Agentforce AI Studio is essentially a place where you can go and use AI to build agents, and that's my understanding of that. And then of course you've got agents themselves. So I believe that I have gone from this list of stuff, and I've covered everything, and I've put it into this diagram. Okay, so this is very much version 1 of this video. When I made this diagram, I quickly realized we need to do a revised architecture diagram for Tableau with all of these things and a bit more care taken in terms of Salesforce. So that's where you come in. I'd love you to help me do that. I'll leave a link to this in the comments in Excalidraw. I'll probably put it on GitHub somewhere so you can try and iterate on it and build it. And yeah, I'd love your feedback in the comments below. If you've learned something new, let me know in the comments. If I've missed something, which I definitely have, also let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.